Hello, my friends. Today we study the first parsha in the book of Leviticus. It's called in Hebrew Vaykra. And before we start, let's take a bird view on the book itself and what it contains. Behind me here is a schematic description of the five books. Book of Genesis, Exodus, and then in the middle is Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Now, in the past, people could claim that the five books have no common author. In fact, classical biblical teaching is, or has been, that especially the book of Leviticus is certainly not the same as the other sources. This is a priesthood covenant. Fine. They have been preaching it in the universities, in the School of Theologies, everywhere. The internet is full of it. Well, here came the computer and showed that each of those books have something special at the introduction of it. In the book of Genesis, that behind me here, the word Torah appears in interception of 49 letters, which means you open the book of Genesis, you find the first Tav, Torah Tav, you count 49 letters, and you reach Vav, and then 49 letters you read Resh, 49 letter Hey, Torah. That's only can be found by the computer. The second branch here is a book of Exodus, showing the same thing. You find the first Tav, and then you count 49 letters, Vav, then 49 letter Resh, 49 letter Hey, Torah. Well, the two books have the same author. And so is the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy. Only the word of Torah is upside down. But still, the design of 49 letters between the consonant. Now, what about Leviticus in the middle? As you see here, Leviticus is a little different. You find the first Yud, then you count 7 letters A, 7 letters Vav, 7 letter A. The Yud Hey Vav Hey, YHVH. Now, this design by itself is an absolute proof that they have the same designer, the same author of the five books. Now, you can ask yourself, why is it that Moses put it in a code that can be found only by computer? You know, we are the first generation that knows that. Obviously, it could predict or could prophesy that a generation will come and challenge the validity of the Torah and say that each book is different author, different centuries. They concoct all kinds of theories. And to bust all these theories, He put a design, and he knew that that generation will need a computer, and he will have a computer that can find it. Otherwise, he wouldn't put it. So if you look for a miracle in your hand, this is one of those. It's a miraculous design showing that the 5 books of Moses are one unit, and the first and the Leviticus is a special, it stand out by the fact that it's a acronym YHVH introducing it. That's remarkable. So this is as far as the introduction to the 5 books. And what are the content of the book of Leviticus? Of course, sacrifice. Well, there are different types of sacrifice. Our parsha talk about 3 voluntary sacrifice. It's elevation. Some people call it burnt offering. Elevation is a better term. Elevation, gift offering, and a peace offering. These are offered voluntarily. And then the parsha mentioned 2 offerings that are obligatory, like sin offering and guilt offering. Now, what's the purpose of so many offerings? We already know what the Rambam said, that initially God, when he took us out of Egypt, and even Israel was placed across Mount Sinai, there was no intention to tell them to offer sacrifice, animal sacrifice. That's the idea of the Rambam. It's only after the sin of the golden calf that God saw that the people of Israel, like any other nation, still looking for something tangible through which they convey their relationship to God. They need some sacrifice. So he says, fine. After Moses prayed, Hashem consented. He said, I forgive them. And I will tell them to build a tabernacle, offer offering, sacrifice, but only in one place. And only as the way that I tell them. If so, you can ask now, one offering could satisfy everything. Why so many different types? And the answer is remarkable. Because the Torah wants you to, when you bring the offering, to seek your heart, to search your heart, to analyze what was the sin, to confess about it, and then the Torah prescribes different offering for different occasions, compelling you to search inside your heart and to identify the sin and to ask forgiveness. And that was really done the way it was done. People came to the courtyard. There is a high court session sitting in the front of the courtyard of the temple at the entrance. People come in and they stand before the rabbis and they say, my rabbi, I've seen this and this and this. Only severe violation demands sacrifice, like violating the Sabbath. So please tell me what kind of offering I should bring. Now the rabbi turned to him and he asked, did you know the law before you transgressed? Because if you knew the law, or you forgot it, did you know forgot it? Each case is a different offering. Or did you find out about the transgression only after you sin? Or who was the one who told you about it? Each occasion will prescribe different offering. Was it done voluntarily with reward, or was it done unintentionally? Only unintentionally sin, only sin that was done unintentionally, without knowing, demand offering. So the person stand there and dissect before the court is sin. Not only that, when finally enter the court with the sacrifice, he stand before the priest, the Kohen, and again he put his hand on the sacrifice and he confessed about the sin to the eyes of the priest. So it's a lot of mental work done. And that's why the different type of offering. Now let's make a point here. The offering pertain only to sin before man and God, like transgression of the Sabbath, or eating something that shouldn't should eat, something severe. But sin between man and man, like violation of the sixth commandment of Noah, there is no sacrifice for that. So how can you atone for that? For that, the Torah prescribes the elevation offering, the Ola, burnt offering. With a burnt offering, there are some burnt offering that the Torah prescribes as obligatory, but these are the minuscule. Almost 90% of the burnt offering that were brought to the altar were voluntarily, both from Jews and non-Jews. And they can atone for light sins, like I did not perform a commandment that I should have done, positive commandment. I forgot to take my lulav on a festival, or I didn't eat matzah. These are light sins between man and God still, and I can ask forgiveness in my heart through the burnt offering. There is no guilt offering and no sin offering here. It's through the elevation offering, silently, without confessing it either to the court or even to the priest. Certainly, the burnt offering that you people bring voluntarily covers whatever is on your heart, whatever request you have, whatever regret you have, whatever you want from God, even just positive things, whatever is on your heart, you offer, you set up before Hashem silently without a word. Like Noah, he brought his burnt offering, elevation, without a word on Mount Moriah. And Hashem read it. So you pour your heart. So here, since there is no sin, you don't have to dissect the sin, but you dissect your whole heart, so to speak. Now, how you prostrate your wills, your desires, your behavior, and you say to Hashem, this is what I am. I acted from my free will, and I bring it to you. the Rabbi Simon by Yochai, the author of the Torah, says, you even bring there your bad thought. You even bring any thought you have, rejection of Hashem. You are not ashamed, you put it before Hashem. This is me. I acted is my free will, and the result, this is what I am now. It's a snapshot of what I am now. See me, that's what I am. That's the posture of a person who brings the burnt offering or elevation, either Israel or Noahide. So the question is why it's called elevation. So for that, let's read now the Torah text. And he called to Moses. He doesn't say who. And Hashem spoke to him from the tent of the meeting, saying, speak to the children of Israel. He says to them, when a man among you brings an offering to Hashem, from animal, from a cattle, from a flock, and you bring your offering. If one's offering is an elevation offering from the cattle, he shall offer an unblemished male. He has bring it to the entrance to the tent of the meeting voluntarily to his will before Hashem. He then lean his hand upon the head of the elevation offering, and it shall become acceptable for him to Hashem, according to Hashem's will. Let's stop here. Before we dive into it, let us ask, can Noahide bring also sin offering and a guilt offering like Israel? And here is a debate in the Talmud, in the talk of Sanhedrin, where Rabbi Akiva says no, Noahide bring only elevation offering. Where Rabbi Yossi Aglili, another giant of Torah, said yes, if he is sincere, why not? We accept from him, for anyone, even from an idol worshiper. Whoever come to the temple, and even he sincerely, and he may offer burnt offering, not only burnt offering, but also guilt and sin offering. We accept from him. So Rabbi Akiva says no, Rabbi Yossi Aglili says yes. The problem is that these two giants are so great that halacha, each one on its own is considered always the halacha, saying the halacha. Now these two will confront each other, so where is the halacha? So now we look to next generation. And indeed, the last one that I know, Rabbi Ovadia Bartanura, 16th century, he said, yes, we want, theoretically, we all like Rabbi Yossi Aglili, we would accept burn, not from anyone in the world, we would accept even sin offering, guilt offering, even from non-Jews. So here the halacha, of course we don't have a temple, But in the halacha conceptually, the theoretical debate here is very important. So a Noahide can feel I'm not only spectator there, I also can bring any offering I want. In fact, that's a general rule about Noahide, that although they are not obligated in any commandment, positive commandment, beside dinim, number 5, dinim is justice. It's the only positive commandment that Noahide can be holy through dinim, making justice, implementing justice. But if a Noahide wants to take on himself any mitzvah of the Torah, to fast on Yom Kippur or whatever, you can do it voluntarily, from obligation of the heart. So let's go back to the parsha that we read, and let's start there at the first verse. It said, and he called Moses, then Hashem talked to him. What a weird introduction. Who called Moses? It looked like two entities here. And he called Moses, comma, and Hashem talked to him. Why HVH? So Rashi says, no. It's one speaker. He first called Moses to come in, and then he spoke to him. And from here, Rashi says, we should learn that it's not polite to talk to people straight in the face. You should first call their name, raise their attention, then talk to them. Now, what happened here? Why he had to call? That's related to the end of the book of Exodus, Rashi said, because there at the end it says that when the tabernacle was finished, the cloud of Hashem came down, filled the tabernacle, and Moses could not enter. So when the Shekhinah entered the tabernacle, settled there, for a long time, nobody could enter, even Moses. Once the Shekhinah settled itself under the cherub, so to speak, she called Moses to come in. The metaphor here is like a king whose lover, a person who loved the king, built for him a palace, and on every stone, everything on the palace, he wrote the king name. And once the king came and stayed in that palace, and he saw that his name is on the wall everywhere, he understood how this person loved him. So he called him come in. So that's the metaphor. So in other words, the verse is understood as one speaker here. First he called Moses, and then he talked to him. YHVH. And that's the same Hashem, the Shekhinah, the same level that Moses saw on Mount Sinai. Only now that Shekhinah entered under the cherubs. But Rabbeinu Bachye and Kabbalah says no. It's not so. There are two speakers here. Who is the speaker here? Nameless. And he called Moses, entity that has no name, and beyond our conception, beyond the attributes. Remember that YHVH and Elohim are only attributes. Above the attribute there is a self, and below the attribute are kingship. From the 10 Commandments of Sinai, it says, I am, line 1, I am, the I, the self first, Hashem, your Elohim, the attribute, who took you out of Egypt, kingship. So this is the structure, so to speak, of Hashem revealing himself to Moses on Sinai, self, attribute, and kingship. And but here, so there is so this form of this level of Hashem, a structure in it, as each structure has a name: self, attribute, kingship. But whoever called him here has no name. It's above level of the Creator. It's above the one that was seen in Sinai. So Rabbeinu Bachya says Moses was elevated here to a prophecy above what he has seen in Sinai. And the story is that when he finished book of Exodus, he sat down. And Moses said to himself, well, I finished my job. I took him out of Egypt. I gave him the Torah. I exposed them to the Shekhinah in Sinai. They had a voice. I built for them a temple. And now in a few months we'll be in the land of Israel. I'm done. So he sat down. So came that level of Hashem, of the Creator, above what he have seen on Sinai, the nameless level of Creator, above the crown, above all the spheres, Rabbeinu Bachya said. And that level called him, Moses, stand up. There is one chapter I need to tell you to teach Israel to reach me above what they have seen on Sinai. So the level of Hashem, of the Creator, that resides, so to speak, dwell in the tabernacle would be higher than it was on Sinai. Nameless. How do I characterize that level? It has no name. But there is a hint here. Remember, we just read the section, and he said, you bring the offering, and you reach, and it will reach my will. He says, to my will, you bring it to my will. It also can mean a person should bring it to his free will. If there is no compelling, there is no obligation to bring the elevation. That's one way. There is the person's own free will to address to my free will, my will. Now, let's focus, what does it mean, my will? The Kabbalah says that the entire endeavor of the universe creation was initiated when the infinite Creator, that has no name, had a thought on his mind, had a will. I want to create the universe. And that's free will, deep in, or higher than all the attributes. The primordial free will of the infinite Creator prompted the creation of the universe, including us. So that's free will. Let's think about it. That's primordial free will prompted the Creator to act. So what did he do? he consolidated his godliness in a form of court with the attribute of justice and mercy and kingship with all the 10 attributes. And he formed us in that image, according to that image that he formed. So we also have a self, attribute, kingship, like he had. That's what it means. He created us in his image. So the most primordial moment of the universe life is the original thought, original will that came up on the creator mind, if you wish. Just to know. So what is the elevation of it? To expose our free will, deep our free will, to his free will, above the attribute. And those free will, that level of original will has no name, because all the names came after that. The attribute, Hashem, Yud-Vaykra, Elohim, kingship, all that came out in a course of time as Hashem executed his will. But the original level has no name, only a will, and that will showed himself, spoke to Moses. So no wonder that Moses was elevated to the highest level of his prophecy. Rabbeinu Bachir said, how did he call him? Moses, Moses, like Noah, Noah. On Noah, he says, these are the generation of Noah. Noah was a righteous man. So Noah name appears side by side twice. So there were two types of Noah. Noah that knew the Sabbath, or ordinary Sabbath. Noah meant to rest. So he knew the rest, the regular Sabbath, and he knew the future Sabbath in his ark. So there were two types of Noah. It's not the same person. I mean, physically the same. Spiritually, he was elevated in the ark because he lived in the ark under the supervision and protection of the Shekhinah, and he saw the eternal Sabbath. There was no death, no birth, peace in his ark. In the same token, there are two Moses. Moses on Mount Sinai, very exposed to Shekhinah, YHVH, and Elohim. Elohim spoke, the 10th commandment. Hashem was beyond it. That's level of Sinai. And now there is a higher level of spiritual level of Moses, hearing the voice of the almost infinite creator. There is no name calling him. A lot of midrashim here talk about the nature of that voice, miraculous nature of that voice. So if we go back to the posture of the one who brings the burnt offering, what does he offer there to Hashem? How deep, when you bring sin offering and guilt offering, you dive into your heart and you think, was it done intentionally, unintentionally? What were my desires? What were my will? And I regret on it, and so on. Here there is no regret. Here in a voluntarily offering, you don't come confessing about any sin. You're just frustrating your own self, a snapshot of you at that particular moment. This is me as a result of my free will. And whether you think that, you dive as deeply as you can in your heart. Even the thought of revolt against you. This is me. Take me, and I have only one prayer, God. There's only one prayer, the Rabbi said, that came out with a burnt offering. Please, God, make my will your will. I know that my free will, deep free will, is not like your will. And the result is that this is what I am now. But I pray to you that I will change, that you will help me to change my innermost free will, that I evolve, and it will match your free will. In order to depict with a diagram, I'll show you what I'm saying. Let me see the following diagram. Let I show you the following diagram. Okay. If you have the Ten Commandments, I am Hashem your Elohim, who took you out of Egypt. So I am, this is what he heard on Sinai. But we know there is a supreme will above the self that has no name. That's the one he spoke to Moses right now. Below, there is the horizontal line is the mirror, so to speak, because when Hashem made Adam, he looked at his image, he looked at the mirror, he saw his own reflection in the mirror, opposite down, upside down, and he made us according to the image. So down there is the image, upside down. So we also have structure in our heart, like Hashem, he is above, and we are converted below. So my free will is deep in my soul. His free will is above everything. My deep will is below my rationality. It's even concealed from me. But my innermost free will dictates my life. The supreme free will, above any rationality, created the universe. My free will, deep in my soul, creates my life. Without my being aware of it, because I am aware only on the level of myself, my attribute, but my innermost free will is concealed from me. It's what Freud's called superego. Actually, he heard Hasidic recitation in Vienna when he proposed the idea of superego. This is right here, the superego. So my innermost free will dictates my life. The same way that God's free will created the universe. So when I stand before Hashem, I pray. First of all, I say, this is what I am now, according to my free will. I know that I can change, it's not by my own action, but by learning Torah, changing myself. And I wish I can change it to my own free will. Will match your free will. It cannot be ever achieved by human being. Only angel free will concur with Hashem free will, because angels are messengers. They have no rejection, no objection, no ability to reject or to disagree. We as human beings are always limited. Our free will never match his free will, but they come close. So I can pray, God help, I wish that my free will come close to your free will, as close as possible. Let me change. What can interfere is the ego, myself. When Moses, what the rabbi asked, how did Moses merit this kind of elevation of prophecy that actually above science is modesty? Because if you look at the Hebrew, and he called, you see the small aleph, because Moses, when he first wrote it down, he wrote Vaykra. Vaykra is like a filth. So Moses thought about himself very modestly. I am not qualified. I am like anybody else. So he wrote Vaykra. Hashem says, no, you add aleph. Vaykra, you're special, aleph. You're unique. So, and because he was so modest, he merited to reach the will. Because you see, I need to control myself, the self, the ego, I need to control to reach his will. It's a lesson for us. When you bring the burnt offering, elevation, you will need to, I would say, levatel, not to diminish, but to cancel or to overcome or to ignore my ego, like Moses. Maybe I will see him above. Otherwise, there's a mirror here. And if I have an ego, when I look up at him, my ego interferes. And when I look in the mirror, I will see myself reflected back to me. I would think that he is talking to me from the mirror, but in fact, it's only my image talking to me. So all the false prophet who has big ego, they are fooled by the mirror. They think that Hashem talked to them, but their big ego actually interfere, and what they hear from the mirror, it's their own thought being reflected back to them. Only when a person overcomes his ego, you can see the other side. And only when we come to Hashem with burnt offering, fighting, concealing, or reducing our ego, we have a chance to expose, to see what he wants from us, and to compare it to what we want from ourselves. So much to speak about, so much meditation here. So so you ask yourself how deep you need to dive into your heart and you come to Hashem with burnt offering, first of all, you offer yourself as you are, and you see, Hashem, this is what I am through my free will. I know that I have to overcome my ego, and I hope that I will develop. I pray for you. Make my will your will. עשה רצוני כרצונך. Make my own free will down there. Make my free will match your free will. Now, there is much more to speak about it. This is, after all, the Torah. So have a good week, and Hashem will bless you.